Where is, okay. Good morning. We're going to get started in about 20 seconds here. So, where's Brian? He just ran inside. Okay, thank you.
Here he comes.
Okay. Can you come here a sec? I'll let you go back to your other role. Do we have everybody here? Is she set up? Let them have a sec. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Good morning, everybody. On behalf of our entire FindJodi team, Holly Kegel, Brian Wise, and I are here to welcome you today to honor Jodi Huisentruit on the 30th anniversary of her abduction on her way to go to work here at KIMT. And FindJodi's Jay Alberio was here with me last summer, but unfortunately he passed away just 5 months later, still working from his hospital bed just weeks before he passed away, and we dearly miss him. So many lives were forever changed 30 years ago this morning. That day, someone stopped Jodi from going to work, stopped her from continuing her life after just 27 short years. But he'll never stop us at FindJodi from continuing to look for him, continue to keep Jodi visible, and we want him to know we're not going anywhere. This morning we'll hear from some of Jodi's closest friends and colleagues. They will share their stories, and it's a very difficult day, obviously, but in their grief, they will share some of their anecdotes. They'll be honest about some of the pain they've gone through, and I just hope collectively we can get through this all together. We will also hear from the Mason City Police Chief, Jeff Brinkley, who will address the crowd about what do we need now? What do we need so we're not here a year from now doing this again? So we appreciate your joining us as well. We're going to begin with a statement from Jodi's family. Katie, the family is very grateful for all of you gathered here today. It's obviously too difficult to be here in person, but they have a message we want to start with. Katie? Thank you.
It's hard to fully comprehend that it has now been 30 years since our dear Jodi was so senselessly taken from us. 30 years since we last saw her smile, heard her infectious laugh, or had a chance to hug her and tell her how much we love her. 30 years of her not being here with us to share in milestone events and make memories together. 30 years of pure anguish and torture dealing with the loss of our Jodi and trying to find answers to what happened to her 30 years ago today. Jodi lived her life as an optimist, and she had a great passion for living life to the fullest. She was a bright light who made the world around her better just by being in it. Her kindness and heart were unmatched, and she had an innate ability to make those she met feel seen, heard, and valued. She had such a bright future ahead of her, and she should be here now, living out her dreams. Our sincerest gratitude to all who have worked tirelessly on Jodi's case and continue to do so, including law enforcement and FindJodi. We will never be able to say thank you enough, and we wholeheartedly appreciate your dedication to finding Jodi and solving her case. To all of Jodi's friends, a huge thank you for the love and support you have provided us over the last 30 years. From interviews to establishing a foundation in Jodi's name, you have been our support system on this journey, and we are eternally grateful to all of you for your encouragement and for helping out whenever it was needed. Jodi always told us she had the most loyal friends, and you all have certainly proven her right. Finally, a big thank you to everyone who has shown up here today and all who have supported us and continue to have interest in Jodi, her story, and in seeing her case be resolved. Please know your interest and support mean the world to us. The pain and anguish felt by us and all who love Jodi are immeasurable. True peace will only be given to us when Jodi is found and justice is served to her. We know it's hard to have hope for resolution after so many years, but we still choose to hope that one day soon it will happen. Some days that choice is harder than others, but we will always choose hope and invite everyone else to join us in this. To anyone out there who has key information that could lead us to Jodi to help solve this case, we beg you, please come forward and not make us continue to wait for answers. 30 years is 30 years too long to wait for resolution. We implore you, if you know something, say something. Help us finally bring Jodi home. Thank you.
Anie? There. Our first speaker was one of Jodi's closest friends here in Mason City. Anie, Cruz, and Jodi spent the weekend before Jodi's abduction on a water skiing trip with friends. 2 days later, Jodi was gone. Anie's going to joining us with some of her journey, what she's dealt with, and some of her fond memories of Jodi. Thank you.
Thank you. So I met Jodi when she was young and she was covering our American Heart Association golf tournament. Here she was, this bright, blonde-haired, lovely lady walking across the course, lugging big camera gear, similar to what some of you gentlemen have here. We clicked instantly, and I'm a little bit short, and it was as if we had known each other forever. Her smile lit up a room, her laugh was contagious, and she was kind to everyone she met, any age group. From that point on, Jodi would call me at 9 a.m. and ask what we were going to do that evening, and we'd make our evening plans. Two young women in a newer town, finding our place and our people together. We enjoyed riding our bikes from Mason City to Clear Lake, around the lake, and back to Mason City. We boated, we skied. Well, she skied. I was terrible, and she was great at it. She was an amazing skier. And we tracked down every half-price appetizer in town because we weren't making much money at that time, so that was dinner. We had a lot of fun doing that. Jodi also served as a secretary and communications chair of our Cerro Gordo County unit of the American Heart Association. We have a former board member here, I see. I'd come into the office and find in the small left drawer these blimpy napkins, and there would be notes of encouragement or just fun notes that she had left. Cheese trio was her favorite sandwich, by the way. Who eats cheese and vegetables? She did. But it was always fun finding those notes. She emceed events when I needed someone dependable, and she never hesitated to jump in. She joined me for fundraisers, and I returned the favor when she had things for work. I was sometimes her plus one. We showed up for each other, and that was just what we did. I'll never forget her surprise birthday party. She thought it was just the two of us for a meal, and we ate at the waterfront. And she really didn't want to go to Sully's afterwards. I encouraged her and said, there's a few people, just a couple people that we're going to meet, so we need to go there. So reluctantly, she agreed to go to her own party, and we were late, I might add. As she went down, there's like a landing there. I just remember there's some things that are just really vivid and some things that are pretty blurred. But she was hitting the landing, she saw the decorations, and she turned around, and there was that moment of like, there's a party going on. And then it was like, this party's for me. Like it was fun and exciting, and I could see it was so vivid, the shock that registered. I even had a special cake that was made that had someone skiing with blonde hair, and I remember her taking the knife later in the night and cutting off the bottom part because the blonde-haired skier had long hair, not short. So the things you remember, it's kind of funny. The weekend before she disappeared, I had no idea that this would be our last adventure together. We were in the Iowa City area, boating, dancing, and just living life like we always did. Carefree, full of laughter, and soaking in every moment. Looking back now, it's hard to believe that weekend would be the last time I would spend with her and the last time I would see her. If I had known, I don't know if I would have done what I would have done differently. Maybe nothing, maybe everything. Sorry. Jodi, my friend, had big dreams. She was looking ahead to the next chapter, maybe Flagstaff, maybe West Palm Beach, Florida. We were both looking in the same city, hoping to land. Oddly enough, a job opened up in West Palm Beach, Florida, about a month after she disappeared, but it no longer had the same interest that it once did for me. Jodi was more. She was driven, and she was determined, and she was confident and motivated. And she had so much more to do. I wish my daughters could have met her. She would have been a great model for them, a bright, bold, and fearless example of what it looks like to chase your goals and lift others up along the way. That was Jodi. She was the kind of friend everyone deserves in their life, supportive, adventuresome, funny, and loyal. We didn't know what the future held, but I thought we'd have a lifetime to figure it out. In one of the cards, it was a thank you note for after the birthday party. She wrote, "We'd be lifetime friends." Well, that lifetime was pretty short. 29 years ago, I spoke at the 1-year anniversary, and that's the last time I've spoken in this type of arena, so to speak. And I spoke of hope, hope that she would come home, hope that I would see her again. I held on to that hope for a really long time. Today, on the 30th anniversary of her disappearance, I carry gratitude for the time that I had, the memories I shared, the friendship that has stayed, the memories have stayed sharp even through the years, have blurred around them. But today, I carry something else, a deep need for answers, for truth and for closure. Jodi deserves that. Jodi's family deserves that. And each and every one of us who love Jodi and miss her daily, we all deserve it. So while I stand here grateful for the time I had with Jodi, I also stand here restless. I want peace and I want justice. And I want the world to remember that her story is not over until we have both of those. Until then, I'll keep remembering her laugh, her spirit, her friendship. We'll be grateful for that. And I'll keep hoping for answers, not just for me, but for everyone who loved her. Thank you.
Thank you, Anie. Imagine having a friend and coworker suddenly go missing and then having to report on it night after night, going before a camera, producing newscasts. Well, that's what happened 30 years ago today to the staff here at KIMT, where Jodi was supposed to be working that day. If you could join me now, Robin, Pete, Amy, Doug. Thank you. Nothing you learn in journalism school can prepare you for what they went through that summer in 1995. And I'd like to start with Robin, who was another very close friend of Jodi's and had to go on the camera, I believe that evening, and share the news. And you could speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I don't come back to these very often. I've been to a couple, I think, and it's just wonderful to see a lovely turnout like this. Yeah, I'll never forget, I got a phone call that morning at around 7:30, and it was from the Mason City Police Department, and they asked me if I had seen Jodi. And I said, well, no, she's at work, and I had just woken up after working the evening shift. And I said, no, she's at work, and they said, well, she didn't show up for work. And immediately I knew something was wrong because she always shows up for work. And I came right into the station, and we discovered that a lot of her personal effects were scattered around her car. So right there and then, we knew it wasn't good, but we still held out hope. And it's amazing, after 30 years, I still have hope that we're going to find her. So many people are committed to this, and I just want to commend Caroline Lote. I mean, she just spearheads so much of this along with the FindJodi team. And believe it or not, she and I have talked for years and years and years, but this is the first time we've ever met. So it's really wonderful for me to meet her. Jodi, Anie said everything. It's so interesting because I was going to just kind of ad lib because I read a prompter every night. I decided I'm not going to do anything scripted. I'm just going to free spirit. And sometimes that can get a little loosey-goosey. So I'll be careful. But Jodi and I always had so much fun together. And my sister and another dear friend of ours are both here. We would go up to Rochester. We would leave on weekends and we would go visit Wendy and Kim. And we would go out. We loved the nightlife in Rochester and in the Twin Cities. And we just so thought of each other as sisters. She was always my little sister, and I was rather protective of her. And we just all both had the same dreams of becoming successful national newscasters. And there was never a threat. There was always just admiration and respect for each other. And it was such a beautiful thing. Hi, Mary. And so when she went missing, it was so ironic to me. And again, having to report the news every night, it felt like I felt like I was betraying Jodi because I was on the desk talking as a newscaster, and yet my emotions inside were that of a dear friend. And today I look back and I don't know how I did it. It's just amazing. But yeah, when I looked up at the monitor in this studio, there were 3 national television stations up because that's about how many we had back then. And Jodi's picture was on every single one of them. And I thought to myself, this is not what she meant about making national TV. But there she was. So, yeah, she's an amazing human being. She had such a huge heart. She brought such light and laughter into every space she entered. She didn't know a stranger. If she did, it lasted about 2 minutes and they became instant friends. We clicked immediately. Sounds like Anie clicked immediately with her. And she was just such a light. And I interviewed her sister Joanne shortly after her abduction, and something that really stuck with me, and it's a word that comes up a lot when Jodi is discussed, and Joanne, grief-stricken of course, said, she's our sunshine. She was our sunshine. And I think that speaks to the light that she brought to every space, to every person, every life. And I'm just so grateful, like Anie, that I had the chance to spend a little bit of my life with her. And we always said that we would too be forever friends. And to me, that will last as long as I'm on this earth. She will always be my friend. And the legacy that she leaves behind is what exists in all of us who knew and love her. So I certainly hope that we all continue to carry on that legacy and keep fighting for answers and do what we can to support the FindJodi team because they're so incredible. And yeah, just keep her hope alive because I believe we will find her.
Thank you for being here, everybody. My name is Amy Coons. I was the last person to speak to Jodi that morning. She was late for work that morning, and I called her and woke her up. And if that ever happened, she would gather all of her things and be to work within 20 minutes, hair wet, stuff in a bag, hair dryer in her bag, just being kind of a hot mess, but she would be there. So I never thought in a million years that she just would not show up that morning. And honestly, we couldn't sit in black, so I had to just do the job of 2 people. And I just kind of went on automatic pilot, and I just couldn't think about it. And I never thought worst case scenario would be a reality. And then later on that day for the new news, I had to go on and be the first person at KIMT to break the news that Jodi had been abducted. And honestly, I don't know how I did that. The powers that be were behind me. Caroline and I have talked at length about the spider web, the ripple effect of Jodi's disappearance. There were those of us that knew her and loved her and worked with her. There was her family, and there were all of you, people who are going to be watching this tonight, who felt like they knew her because she was in everybody's homes every single morning. So that ripple effect is huge. It doesn't just affect me as the last person to speak to her. It doesn't just affect Robin, one of her really dear friends. It affects all of these people here that I worked with and love and cherish from KIMT. And just lately, I've had some pretty deep thoughts. Yes, I've gotten older and fatter and wiser and happy. And sometimes I get down on myself for that. But I'm grateful because I have that chance. Jodi never got that chance to live her life and get to be 55, 56, 57 years old. She never got that chance. So I plead for all of us to just be thankful and grateful for every day that we have. Live every day to the fullest, because you never know when it's going to be your last. And honestly, thank you so much to all of you for being here today. It means the world. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Klaus. I was an anchor reporter at KIMT. Worked with Jodi, great friend of mine. It's hard to believe it's been 30 years. It's great to see these people that I worked with at that time, but I'm going to probably get emotional about it. But, 30 years ago today was a tough day for us. Boy, oh boy. Imagine, there's a lot of journalists here. Imagine that was you. All of a sudden, your friend and coworker had disappeared. And the next day, you're doing interviews with network people. They were lining the sidewalks out here looking for comments from us. I did a lot of live shots on the search for my friend. Anchored newscasts. We wore ribbons for a very long time. And we always thought, well, by July 4th, we'll probably know something, right? We'll probably know. And that was July 4th, 1995. And it's 2025 now. So what we're really looking for, all of us have this common goal of finding answers. And there's somebody out there who knows something. And this has been 30 years ago. You'd think by this point, whoever knows anything would just anonymously come forward to any law enforcement agency in the country and just say, here's some information. Because we just all want answers. We want to bring Jodi home. We've wanted that ever since this happened. But it's a tough road. But we know that it's still possible. And that's why we have events like this. Look, I don't want to have another event like this with the same theme that we don't know anything. I want next year's event to be a celebration that we know something now. Finally, right? We're not giving up hope. Every year we come. I've been to many of these through the years, but you always think maybe this is the last one. And I really do hope this is the last one. It's possible. And by everybody showing up here and keeping that story out there, that's part of it. And we're happy everybody shows up. We're happy the media comes. We're happy to keep this story in motion as much as it can be, because it's very personal to us. It's hard to imagine yourself in that situation. I was a really young journalist back then, but it's stuck with me my whole career. So I won't take any more time. We got more people who want to speak here. I love all these people. Thanks for coming.
My name is Pete Helmstead. I have a little different experience than everybody else here did. I was working here. I was a sports director at the time. And like everybody else, I so clearly remember that day. But the strange part about it was my friend and coworker in the sports department and I were scheduled to go to Minneapolis that day and cover the Twins on a Tuesday night, cover them on a Wednesday during a day game. Getting close to the All-Star break, we had stuff that we could use. Well, of course, we were going to get ready and totally cancel that trip. But rightfully so, our news director, Doug Murbach, said, no, you guys go. This is what we're planning. We're going to keep normalcy where we can. Well, we went up there, and all of a sudden, we've got all the Minneapolis media and other media at the game asking us questions. And what do you know? And Bob Bradovich and I in the press box every third inning or so would go find a payphone and call the 1-800 number, see if there's anything going on. Well, we came back, and to make things even a little more strange for me, that next day I was leaving on vacation to a family cabin in northern Minnesota. This was before cell phones. This is a cabin. There's no phone in it. So every day, I would drive about 8 miles to the local lake store a couple times a day and talk to Dan. He was doing some of the reporting and anchoring, trying to find information. And then when we did come home a few days later, I'll never forget getting into the viewing area and starting to see ribbons and posters. And it just all of a sudden became so real again. Like I mentioned, I was doing sports at the time. Jodi and I worked completely opposite shifts, but there were times where I'd come in at 2 and Jodi'd be hanging around to talk with Robin. We were all around the same age, so a lot of times on weekends we'd get together, groups of us. Dan was definitely involved, and have a lot of fun, and Jodi was always laughing, always happy. Jodi's, I believe it was her first weekend here. We had a group of us that would go play volleyball, sometimes basketball, in local communities and help raise money. And I think it was Jodi's first weekend here, we had an event, and she ended up in the car with me and a couple other people. And it was just amazing. She just fit in, just like that, all the time. She was always the crowd favorite at these events. And I mentioned this to Caroline earlier this week, that one of the main things I remember about Jodi is we were talking one time and she was gonna miss an evening event because she had to be up early in the morning. And she looked at me and she said, I just hate this because I feel like I'm missing out on so much life. And that was Jodi. She did not want to miss out on anything. When people make the connection that I used to work here, it doesn't matter where they're from. It could be in Florida, it could be in North Dakota, it could be in Arizona. You can just see the wheels turn. And they asked me, did you know Jodi Huisentruit? And I said, yeah, I did. And all the time, you can just, they see from the news coverage how fun she was and how good of a person she was. And they always ask me, do you think this will ever be solved? And I say, without a doubt, I know it will be solved. And I'm just gonna echo what everybody else has said. If you know something, please just say something. Just talk to somebody, help the family, help all of her friends and colleagues and everybody else. Put some closure into this. So thank you everybody for coming. Thank you Caroline and your group for everything you do. And thank you Chief Brinkley for carrying on the investigation. And we will get answers.
Hi, my name is Doug Murbach. I was news director, Jodi's boss when she worked here. I hired her and brought her to KIMT to become the morning and noon anchor. Between Anie and Robin and Dan and Pete and Amy, there's not a whole lot left that I can say. I usually have a few words every year, the remembrance that we have for Jodi, and after doing this for many, many years, I kind of become at a loss for words. But I want to thank FindJodi.com and everybody associated with, especially Caroline Lowe. I want to thank Mason City Police and Chief Brinkley. There's nobody that wants this case solved more than they do. I know they're still working at it. Iowa DCI is still working at it. And all we can do is hope that somebody comes forward with some information. But everybody here talked today about how it's affected the ripple effect, as Amy said, how it's affected other people that foremost her family, foremost her very, very good friends, but also the co-workers that you see here today. 30 years later, and it hasn't really healed. It hasn't really gotten any better. It may be worse because early on we had lots and lots and lots of hope, and we fight every day to maintain as much hope as we can, and we know, like what Pete said, some days somebody's going to come forward, something's going to happen, and get it solved. But I can really only echo the stories about Jodi, and she was unique, she was one of a kind, she was the most personable person that we've ever had that I can remember when I was here that worked here. And I think my memories of Jodi were more so outside the workplace at the basketball games that we went to for fundraising for various charities and schools in the area. And Jodi was a good athlete. She played basketball very well, and especially she was a good golfer. And I really enjoyed the times that I got to play golf with her. And probably one of my best memories of Jodi was playing in a charity event in Lake Mills at Rice Lake Country Club, and we were in the same group. And she had her own way of doing things, but it always seemed to work. The traditional way to hit a chip shot in golf would be to run it on the ground for the 50 or 60 feet from the fringe to the hole, but Jodi would pitch it in the air and land it near the hole. And I asked her why she did it that way. And I said, you know, the textbook way to do is to run it on the ground. And she goes, well, that's just how I do things. and it works for me, she said. And she proceeded to lob it up there and about 3 feet from the hole, and we made the putt. So after that, I never questioned her about her golf game. But once again, thank you for all the media for being here, all the reporters. Without you, Jodi's story might flounder and disappear. So it's just an opportunity to say thank you to all of you, and please keep Jodi's memory alive and her hope alive. Thank you.
Thank you so much to, basically, in a small market, your coworkers in the TV, you're a family, and that's how it was here. So it was a member of your family who disappeared. Before Jodi became a journalist, she studied broadcast communications at St. Cloud State University, and she also spent 6 months abroad in England, and 3 of her roommates from St. Cloud State are here to share some of their Jodi stories. Kate Warren, Kelly Boyle, Beth Carlson. You have a lot of fun stories.
Yeah, we
so
do.
thank you.
We do. Some of you may not have met Jodi, obviously, so we want to give you a little insight on what Jodi was like. Again, my name is Katie, Kelly, and Beth, and we met Jodi when we were 19 and 20 years old through St. Cloud State. We all chose to sign up individually. None of us were friends before. We chose to sign up for 6 months study abroad program in Anie, England. And to say everyone's been telling you that Jodi is a sunshine, she was. I mean, we had some big personalities on that team of 65 people all studying together, and Jodi was a bright light. We all have very funny and adventure stories about Jodi, so we're going to share some of those with you. One of mine was she had her confidence. She had confidence whether she should have confidence or not. And when I said, I think I need a perm. It was 1987, of course. I think I need a perm, but I can't afford a perm. Jodi's like, well, I can give you a perm. I'm like, have you ever done that? You bet I have. I do not think that she ever had. So I went out and bought the stuff, and she gave me the worst perm of my life, but we had so much fun, and you would have never known because of her confidence that she's doing it. And I ended up having to then pay extra to get all my hair cut off and get that horrible perm taken care of. But again, doing anything with Jodi was nothing but a pleasure. So here are some other fun stories from Jodi.
Hi, everyone. One thing we all did, we were studying in England. We were able to travel around Europe or just travel on breaks. And we all traveled, and we've all said, like, we've all traveled, but somehow Jodi saw more than any of us. She was, I mean, like Anie just knew her so well, and her friends here, she was just like, she loved life. She just, every day she loved life, and she just wanted an adventure, and she just had so many goals. And, but anyway, so traveling around Europe, she just saw more than anyone, and she tracked down relatives in Amsterdam, right? She went and she just like found relatives that she never met, and she found them in Amsterdam and got to know them. They didn't even speak the same language, but they made this connection. And I remember we all traveled to Russia together. And Jodi, a typical Jodi, she was excited to go to Russia, and she wanted her mom and her aunt to have that same experience. So she flew them over to England, and then they were able to come to Russia with us, which was just a great experience for them. But so we were traveling in Russia, and it was cold, and it was Russia, and you couldn't read any of the signs. And I didn't even know, one night we went to the folk concert in Russia, and then afterwards Jodi and I went doing something. I don't even remember what we were doing, but we got lost. And we were trying to get back to our hotel, and it was like late, and we were lost in the subway system somewhere in Russia, and like we couldn't read the signs, and everything was written in Russian, and it was, I don't even know I honestly don't really remember how we got back to the hotel, but by the grace of God, we got back to the hotel. But I look back on that, and it was just like, I don't know, it was just kind of it was a little scary at the time. It was a fond memory because we just kind of got through it all together. And Jodi just kind of made everything like that, just fun and adventurous. And one other thing we all did in Russia, we could trade things. So like Russian people loved American like denim jeans was one big thing. So we all had like our little stash of stuff we were going to trade with the locals. And we all got like a few little things like the little lacquer boxes or, I don't even, like stackable dolls. Well, Jodi got like a ton of stuff. I don't even know how she got it all back. She just had so much stuff from Russia, and we all just laughed about that, how Jodi just came home with this huge cache of Russian goods. And anyway, Jodi just made everything fun, and I tell you what an absolute blessing it was to have her in our lives. So we just want to have more memories, good memories of her, and we want you to know some of these good memories, because she was more than, the missing TV news anchor from Mason City. She was just like everyone said, just pure sunshine and just a great, great person. So we love you, Jodi.
Kelly forgot to mention that because of all the stuff she brought or traded, she divvied it out amongst us because she didn't want to get caught going through customs with all those fun things. But we're hearing the same stories over and over again about Jodi as far as like the adventurous. Someone mentioned, I don't think you used the word frugal, but Jodi was very, very frugal. And when we got back from England, our friendship continued, and I don't know, it was spring break. I think we were both seniors at St. Cloud State. And she's like, let's go to Florida. And I'm like, well, I don't have any money. She goes, well, it's $200. It was maybe $150, but we can do it for $200. I'm like, what do you mean? She said, well, bus, take a bus to Florida? Gross. And then the hotel, we had 6 in a room. And when we got there, I'm like, well, what are we going to eat? How are we going to pay for all this? I think every night we ate I think it was a Tom Thumb at the time. And they had JoJo potatoes and rolls. What were those rolls called? Anyway, 2 for 50 cents. So I think we ate them for a week, and I have since chosen to eat any of that. And we did it. $200, Florida and back. What sticks out with Jodi is that I felt a personal connection. Every single person that knows Jodi felt like you were her best friend. And it was true, and it was sincere, and it was heartfelt. She loved everyone she met. She made them feel important. And that's why it's just so tragic. And it's time. It's time to close this story in Jodi's life. It's time to everyone get together to celebrate all those fun times that we had with her. So please, if you know something, say something, because we miss her dearly, and we want this over. Thanks.
Okay, one more story. So all of our England friends we're still very close today, and we have a constant conversation on WhatsApp. And so we told them all that we're going to be coming here, and if we had any stories. And one of the favorite stories was from this picture. Oh, that's right. So this was our friend Amy's wedding, and Jodi and I were in the wedding, and I have no idea what led to it, but the dance floor cleared, and Jodi got up on a chair and sang Leader of the Pack. And I mean, everyone was mesmerized because she is a terrible singer. And she sang the whole thing, including the vroom, vroom. And she had the whole crowd going, and literally that was one of everyone's favorite memory of Jodi. Again, the confidence, the fun, there was nobody better than Jodi. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Carolyn Lowe. She's been amazing, drawing all the stories out from all of us. And thank you for all of you to continue to share this coverage. And thanks for listening and getting to know Jodi better.
Thank you so much to all of Jodi's friends who, on this terribly difficult day, for sharing their memories, sharing their pain, and just being here and being a part. And the thing we've heard over and over is how we need answers and don't want to come back next year. We like to believe the next time we're together is in Long Prairie, Minnesota, where her family and people closest to her can host a service and tell these stories and not be standing here in front of KIMT for another year. And joining us now is Mason City Police Chief Jeff Brinkley, and he can tell us what's needed, what people in the community can do, what message the media can take back to help get answers and justice for Jodi. Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation, Caroline. I think I had a prepared statement, but I'm gonna ditch that in Robin Wolfram's spirit here today. I think you've all heard the stories here over the last several minutes about the impact that Jodi had on her friends, her family, her colleagues, and her community. And I think that that spirit is still alive and well here in Mason City today. And I think that that is the thing that really kind of helps to keep her story alive. And I appreciate you all sharing that as we have a chance to reflect here. I'm certain on a day 30 years later that nobody that responded to that scene that day thought would come. I think as we reflect on this, and I reflect on it, I was not employed. I was a rookie police officer when this happened in 1995. And I think that as we all age, I think several of the stories that you've heard here about the reflection that people have had on the life and the impact that Jodi had on them, I think we are hopeful and optimistic as humans that that sinks in, and that you would put yourself in the position of Jodi's family and Jodi's colleagues and her friends and the people that knew her and the people that she impacted. And that would help you even at the lowest point of your life to do the right thing. And I think that's really where we are today. There's never a bad time. There's never a wrong time to do the right thing. And so we're certain that there are people out there that have additional information that has not yet been shared with police or law enforcement. You can contact the Mason City Police Department or the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation to share that information. We'll find time to sit down and talk through that. And we are committed to continuing to work all the information that comes in until we can figure out what it takes to close this case. And so I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you sharing this story and continuing to help us bring justice for Jodi. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. As we wrap this up, we want to let the person who took Jodi know that we're not going to go away, we're not giving up, and we will continue to seek answers. We will also continue at FindJodi to do things to keep Jodi visible, and we encourage the community to do its part. Holly, if you could share some of the suggestions.
Sure. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's amazing to see the turnout and to hear all the stories. And I went to Tom Thumb all the time, so that brought back memories for me. From us, we'll keep putting up billboards here in Mason City and posting updates on our website and social media until Jodi is found and can return home to Long Prairie, Minnesota for a final goodbye with her loved ones. Community engagement is such a huge thing, and it means many different things to many different people. In addition to tips, community engagement is a key component to helping law enforcement solve crimes. As a former police officer, I quickly realized that the community was the eyes and ears of the police department. Frankly, they're out there every day. They see what goes on, they hear what goes on, they know who lives in the neighborhood, and they were key to helping us solve crimes. No one knows a neighborhood or a business or a city better than the citizens who live and work there. They witness and report crimes and suspicious activity. They report that to the police, they identify perpetrators, and they testify in court. There is nothing more effective than the partnership between law enforcement and the community. Other ways to engage, since knowledge is power, familiarize yourself with Jodi's case. Look back at historical events by shows, songs, things that happened in 1995 to bring you back to that time. If you were young or born after June 27th, 1995, talk to parents and grandparents, or try to remember any conversations they may have had while you were growing up. Something might click. All information is relevant. Do not hold back information that you think may be insignificant. It may be the piece that law enforcement needs to solve Jodi's case. Sorry. I'll get it here. I will end with this. To Jodi, your smile continues to light up the world. Your presence guides us to be kind. Your strength inspires us. Your hope keeps us going. To Jodi's family, friends, and work family, your pain drives us. Your questions push us to find answers. Your memories have forever touched our hearts. Your hope is our promise to never stop searching until Jodi comes home. I have way too many papers here, sorry. To the persons responsible for taking Jodi away from her life, her family, her friends, and her work family. Definition of decide. To make a final choice or judgment about. To select as a course of action. To fix the course or outcome of something. You decided what happened to Jodi 30 years ago, and you decided to hold that with you. You can decide to change that now and let someone know where Jodi is so she can finally come home. To the family, friends, coworkers, and acquaintances of the person or persons responsible. You hold answers. What did you notice that was different that tragic day or in the weeks to come? What were you told that didn't add up or make sense? What past experiences and knowledge of this person led you to feel something was wrong? What did your gut tell you? You can decide to share what you know. 30 years, it's time.
Thank you, Holly. We'll have a few thank yous here. First of all, to the media for being here. As we've said, we consider Jodi as part of our extended family. She was doing what you're doing. She was going to work, trying to go to work one morning, and she was stopped. So I want to thank the media for being here. I also want several people who have contributed. Joe Dexter, who printed, I believe, 600 copies of the flyer. Please take some of these flyers home with you, put them in your community, put them up in your newsrooms, share them. Also want to thank Ashley Billings, our billboard rep, who's been so much more. Today there are 4 digital billboards up in Mason City. She can show you where they are. We have a new one in front of across from the airport, and we also, our old one is still up on Monroe. So take a look, get engaged, see something, share it. And finally, we want to play a song from Jodi's family's Facebook page. They've been collecting songs that weren't necessarily Jodi songs, but ones that the family feel reflect Jodi. The song we're going to play in a moment is called How You Live. The message is, it's not who you knew, it's not what you did, it's how you live. So if you can take a few minutes and listen to the music, come up and take a look at the photo board of the 27 years of memories that ended 30 years ago today. Thank you all for being here. 30 years, it's time. Thank you. Play the music. Just 1 second. Crank it up.
We got to